In the year 2000, Netflix called Blockbuster and offered to sell the entire company for $50 million. Blockbuster laughed. Then they hung up. 20 years later, there is exactly one Blockbuster store left on Earth. It's in Bend, Oregon. It sells merchandise to tourists. Netflix is worth $280 billion. This is the story of the most expensive phone call in business history. In 1997, a man named Reed Hastings returned a VHS tape of Apollo 13 to his local Blockbuster. He was 40 days late. The late fee was $40. Hastings was embarrassed. He was also furious. He went home and had an idea. What if you could rent movies by mail? What if there were no due dates? What if there were no late fees? Blockbuster made $800 million a year from late fees alone. It was not a side business. It was the business. Hastings co-founded Netflix with Mark Randolph in 1997. They started with DVDs, which were small enough to mail cheaply. In their first year, they offered 925 titles. They had 239 subscribers. Nobody noticed. Blockbuster in 1997 had 9,000 stores, 60,000 employees, and $6 billion in revenue. They were so dominant that Hollywood studios gave them exclusive rental windows. They had negotiated the right to stock movies before any competitor. They were untouchable. Or so they believed. By 1999, Netflix had grown to 300,000 subscribers and was losing money on every one of them. Hastings flew to Dallas to meet with Blockbuster CEO John Antioco. The offer was simple: $50 million for Netflix. Blockbuster would get the technology, the brand, and the subscriber base. Netflix would disappear. Antioco passed. According to people in the room, executives laughed as the Netflix team left. The decision was defensible at the time. Netflix was a money-losing DVD mail service with 300,000 subscribers. Blockbuster had 60 million customers walking into stores every week. Why would you buy a company losing money to sell stamps? Here is what Antioco missed. He was not in the video rental business. He was in the convenience business. And something more convenient was coming. In 2007, Netflix introduced streaming. You could now watch any movie in their library the moment you wanted it, on any device, with no disc, no drive, no waiting. Blockbuster had actually built their own streaming service in 2004. It was called Blockbuster Online. At its peak, it had 3 million subscribers and was genuinely threatening Netflix. Then something happened. Blockbuster's largest shareholder, Carl Icahn, forced the CEO out. The new leadership immediately killed the online division to save costs. They eliminated their own competition to Netflix. Within 18 months, Netflix had taken every subscriber Blockbuster Online had built. By 2010, Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy. They had $1 billion in debt. Store closures accelerated. In 2011, Dish Network bought the brand name for $320 million, hoping to salvage something. There was nothing left to salvage. The last corporate Blockbuster stores closed in 2014. Today, the one in Bend, Oregon, operates as a tourist attraction. People go there to feel something: nostalgia, grief, disbelief. The owner has said she never expects to close, not because Blockbuster is coming back, but because there is nowhere else to go. Here is what the Blockbuster story is really about. It is not a story about technology. Technology was just the weapon. It is a story about certainty. Blockbuster was certain they were winning. They were. In 2004, they had more customers, more revenue, more stores, and more brand recognition than at any point in their history. By every metric available to them, they were succeeding. They were not measuring the right things. Netflix was not stealing Blockbuster's customers. Netflix was building new behavior. By the time Blockbuster realized what was happening, the behavior was already set. People had learned to stream. They were not going back to driving to a store. This is the pattern that ends every empire. Not sudden defeat, slow irrelevance. The $50 million call in 2000 haunts the business world because it seems so obvious now. But here is the harder truth. If Blockbuster had bought Netflix in 2000, they almost certainly would have killed it. The culture that built Blockbuster could not have nurtured Netflix. They were not compatible organisms. Some companies cannot be saved. They can only be survived. In Bend, Oregon, the last Blockbuster closes at 10 p.m. every night. The blue and yellow sign still glows against the dark sky. Inside, the shelves are stocked,